Hey guys, my name is Trevor Mack and I'm a psychical teen filmmaker from the interior of BC. I'm here with my man Damien Bouchard to teach you guys the basics on how to produce videos in order to share with the rest of your community and even the world. There's three basic aspects of creating a film: pre-production, production, and post-production. Each aspect is just as important as the other. I'm going to start off with pre-production. Pre-production is all about planning and having a vision of what your video is going to be and what it's going to look like. Without any of this planning, it would be very difficult to get what you want on the field while you're recording. Now, there's different kinds of planning for different kinds of videos. If you're wanting to make more of a narrative, film, story video, a script is what you'd be using. A script is the de facto piece of planning for most movie films. Scripts have been used for literally hundreds of years in the business. They include all information seen on screen. That includes location, time of day, props, characters, dialogue, and actions. The next kind is a shot list. Most movie films use scripts and shot lists, but if you're only needing shots for, let's say, a documentary, a shot list would work perfectly fine. Shot lists include exactly what kind of shot you want. Will it be a wide shot? Will it be a medium shot? What's the time of day? A shot of who doing what exactly? That kind of stuff. Having all this pre-planning done before you go and shoot is very important if you want everything to run smoothly. A great resource where you can get free production documents like storyboards, location scouting, camera shot list, location release is filmsourcing.com, and you can see the link right below here. Now that we've planned the shoot, let's shoot the plan. Prior to any production, make sure to do a gear check. A gear check could include checking your camera batteries to see if they're full, checking your memory cards, and checking any other kind of small gear you have with you or you're planning to take. Always make sure to see if you've got enough space in your memory card. You don't want to be on the field shooting and you get the message that your camera is full. That sucks, and that's happened to me a lot of times, and I've learned my lesson. Alright, so the do's and don'ts of holding a camera: don't drop the camera, don't touch the lens glass of the camera, keep the camera away from any liquid, and make sure to not film directly at the sun. Now the do's of cameras: do hold on to it tightly, do keep it close to your body, and do use a strap if you have one. Just pretend as if you're holding a very expensive thing in your hands, because that's essentially what cameras are, so you want to protect it. Now, let's move on to some camera angles. Right here, we've got Damien, my man. This is an establishing shot, so we want to show the viewer where we are. We want to give as much information to the viewer as possible. Now, after an establishing shot would be a wide shot. A wide shot is not as wide as an establishing shot, but it's still relatively wide. Next up here we have a medium shot. A medium shot is you're going to show the head and the waist. So this right here is a perfect example of a medium shot. Now right here we've got a close-up or an extreme close-up. These two are very vague, and they vary to what people think and a close-up is, an extreme close-up. Essentially this can be both. This is a perfect example of an extreme close-up and a close-up. Now there's different ways to use camera angles to your advantage. Let's say you want to have a character that looks very overpowering and looks very strong. What you want to do to make your character look very powerful is you would put the camera close to the ground and lift it up. So now this looks like a very stoic shot compared to just a head-on shot. And a lot of people use camera movements to their advantage. Almost every single film you've watched, there has been a lot of camera movement, and it's all been calculated to the inch. Right here, this camera movement right here is called a dolly. So right here we're dollying in right to Damien's face, and then we're gonna dolly back out. Every movement has to be perfect in order for the shot to be very still. So here's another form of a dolly shot. So this time we're gonna go from left to right horizontally. There's a lot of different words to call the shot. Some people call it truck shot, some people call it a pan dolly. It's essentially whatever you want it to be, but this is exactly how you do it. So right here we're gonna tilt up to Damien. This is a tilt. You go from, it's vertical, and you go from bottom to top or top to bottom, and then we're gonna pan left away from Damien. Panning is horizontal. It's shifting the camera left to right. Sometimes when you're using cameras with manual settings, you might accidentally put your exposure way too high. So this is an example of what it looks like when your exposure is too high. the threshold of all of the colors, all of the lights. It overpowers everything else, and it makes everything just very bleh. This is what it looks like when your aperture is too low, and looking at it for a split second, you can totally tell that it's way too low. So what you want to do is make sure you're on automatic settings. If you're at a higher level of shooting, you can test out your aperture levels and you can customize it to whatever you want. And this is exactly what it should look like. This is a completely normal aperture level. Now, a lot of documentaries have B-roll, and B-roll footage is footage that you cut to while your person is talking to the camera or talking to the director. B-roll footage is used from newscasts, documentaries. So what you can do here is, it says Confederation Park, so we're showing the audience where we are. This angle right here is a perfect example of how to shoot a documentary interview. Damien is not looking directly at the camera, he's looking to the right of the camera, so he's looking at camera right, and he's talking to the interviewer. You can experiment in what kind of angle you want, but essentially this is a completely perfect example of how to shoot an interview. So those are some of the basics of production. Now let's check out post-production. Here's the tutorial on Adobe Premiere Pro for the Mac computer with Damien Bouchard.
Okay, welcome to my desktop. So we went ahead and I plugged in my 2 terabyte drive, which is right here. So let's open that up. Let's have a look. I made a folder. First thing you want to do is you want to make a folder, and you just go to new folder. Then you go to editing. But just to save us time, I already went ahead and made the folder, so we'll lose that. Turn on the volume here a little bit. So we'll go in here, and in this folder, there was this other folder called Personal Power from a workshop that we did earlier last year. We have the full QuickTime in there, and then we have the footages, the clips that was used that I'll show you how to make a timeline with. So we'll get out of there. So what we want to do is we want to go to our editing software. It all depends on which ones we have. Some people Final Cut, but for this particular one, we're going to navigate and show you Adobe Premiere CS6. So I'll go in here, open that up. Go ahead and open. As you can see, the screen is now rendering and opening up. So the first things first was creating a folder for the project. Then we transferred the files into the folder. So this screen will come up. We'll go to New Project. It's really important to set these location and the scratch disk to the proper destination, which is the folder that we created. So we'll go back here into our hard drive, go a little down, and editing tutorial 101. So we'll want to save it to this folder, and we'll go to choose. So as you can see right here, editing tutorial 101. Now we'll want to go ahead and do that for every single one. So it's already locked onto the folder, so we'll just continue to choose this all the way down. This will make sure that all files are going into their proper places, so that way you don't have anything happen. So we'll call it Personal Power. Hit OK. We'll call the sequence same thing. Personal Power 101. So there's many different settings, so I'll just leave it at this right now. 1080p 24, working with high definition, so HD. So we'll go ahead and hit OK, and boom, here we come up. So now that, hide that for a bit. So now that we're in the editing software, what we'll want to do is save the project. So let's go ahead and save it. So click on here, go here, and we'll save. Project save. So it keeps saving back to that thing. And if we go here and we go Premiere Pro, then we hide Premiere Pro, and we go back into our folder, editing tutorial 101. So right here is that file for the specific project in the editing software. So now that we know it's there, we'll close this, go back to Premiere Pro, and we'll start the fun process. Now the first thing you want to do is go to your project. So right here is the sequence. Let's create a couple bins. I like to do this all the time. I'll create a couple bins. One for audio, a bin for the footage, a bin for title cards if we end up using them, and sometimes I'll make another bin just for the sequence itself. So we'll take the sequence and I'll put it in its own bin so we know where everything is. Minimize as much as possible. So now that we created the bins, the next thing we'll want to do is import the footage into the footage folder. So I double clicked it. Now we're in here. So now we're gonna go Control left mouse click, and we're going to import. So we'll find this. See, it brings us right to our editing tutorial 101 folder. So what we'll do is we'll go into personal power, then we'll go into the footage folder which we created to isolate the clips, and here we find 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 clips from the day that we went to shoot. So I'll select all these clips, import. Boom. So now they're imported. Let's close this. So let's have a look at clip number 26.move. Double click that, and boom, up comes our folder. And if we hit spacebar, we can see the timeline here, the numbers, and as it goes across, how long that clip is. Hit spacebar again if we need to. We can scrum through it fairly easy. Maybe we want to go to this spot where she is at, where she's done asking the question, and here's an in and here's an out. These are two important pieces of tools within the editing software. When you put an in, it marks the in point where you'll pick up that video, and if you scrub a little down, you'll put an out point towards that video. So it isolates the video from the rest of the video that you don't want. So that is great. Another thing we can, and then after, once you isolated your video, you could click here, click the clip, drag it down to, this is called timeline. We'll keep it at the existing settings, and boom. Now we have this isolated clip on the timeline, being able to see it here. This is the canvas. It works in conjunction with the timeline. So this is where you will build the sequence. So if you want to go to the next one, so if she's our next interviewee, once again we'll put an in point.
That's it. Winnie, I have a question.
Let her talk. Excuse me. And we'll put an out point, like so, and we'll just drag it and put it down here. Boom.
Programs with the youth.
And as you see, it goes from clip to clip as we build more. Now I'm going to go ahead. I already made it the whole sequence just to save us time. So we'll go to import, go back to this folder, personal power. So we'll take the already made QuickTime sequence built a little bit ahead of time, and we'll open it up.
Personal power is being healthy in mind, body, and spirit. So you surround others with that same spirit, and it catches like fire. Therefore, affecting the communities, being healthier, and it brings families closer together, which is all about our community. So I think that's what personal power is. Personal.
Okay, so yeah, we'll hit the QuickTime, throw it down on the timeline, and you can see how the process is. So, just to show you for reference, we started off with this shot of them drumming. So, what we'll do is we'll go into the footage folder and we'll look for that. First, let's delete this. Move this over a bit. So, first shot we want is this drumming. It looks nice. It's a good way to open up the piece. So here's that. Play it. Go a little ahead to where they're drumming. So in point. Stop it right there, put an out point, drag this clip down on the timeline. So that's our first clip that will start in the timeline. So the next clip, for reference, so we'll jump right to Jackie Antoine and what she has to say. Let's hear what she has to say.
That's spirit, and it catches like.
So she's talking about spirit and talking about personal empowerment. Okay. So we can't find that clip, so what we'll do is we'll just start with this lady.
But I wanted to know, what is personal power to you?
Interview asked, what is personal power to you after she's done? We'll put the in point just before her response. In point, let it play
Personal
out.
power to me is being part of the community, and the best part for me is the drumming and singing, and teaching, and being part of the drumming and singing, knowing to sing our songs, learning the clan song, because I grew up as part of the Lee Jack residential school thingy, so I didn't have any of my language, but I know how to sing in my language.
So that's pretty, it's a pretty good response to the question, so we'll end it right there. Go back to the timeline, drag this down so it runs right after the part where this girl is, where these two girls are singing. So let's just play this back one more time. And yeah, just
Personal power to me is being.
She comes up. So one thing that I like to do, especially in moments like this, is unlink the clips, the audio, just drag this down a bit. So it's on this next level here, audio 3 and 4. You can see the waveforms. So what I want to do is like expand this out a bit because it sounds really nice. Then we'll just go to the pen tool, P. And with the pen tool you can do is you can put these little nodes on the waveform to control the amount of audio levels. So what we want to do is we'll just drag this down to like -22 just for reference. So when you play back,
Personal power to me
and you get that
is being
still
part of the.
underneath, still quite predominant. So we'll go back to the selection tool. Maybe just raise up her levels, the audios of the woman that's speaking in an interview, to maybe like 4. 4 sounds good.
Personal power to me is being part of the community, and the best part for me is the drumming and singing.
So as you can see, it sounds a lot better than just having the audio from the drumming stop and going right into her her interview response. One thing about the audio waveforms, if you look over here, what you want to do is you want to keep them fluctuating between 6 and 12 would be the safe range. If it goes into the red, then that means your audio is peaking and it will drown out, and it's not good for your video. So you can see
the best part for me is the drumming.
So it is kind of too loud right now. So I'm gonna bring that back a bit.
And singing, teaching,
So yeah, there you go. So B-roll is another thing. B-roll is cover roll over the interviewer.
Right,
So
yeah, just like some nice soft motion.
there's one example. Another
Yeah.
example would be right here. So maybe if you want to put it in mark.
And the one outside.
Then zoom in, kind of. Out center.
So we'll put an out mark here, but this time we won't take the audio. We'll click right here, drag video only, drag audio only. So right now what we'll do is we'll just drag the audio or the video only, and we'll place it over the interview clip. So this is what B-roll looks like. Play it.
is the drumming and singing, teaching, being part of the drumming and singing, knowing.
And that's an example of B-roll, or also known as cover roll, to kind of give your video more visual aesthetic for the viewer to look at, rather than just having to view your subject in your interview the whole time. It just adds a lot more production value and makes it much more pleasable to watch. Another thing what I'll do is I'll show you text. So what we want to do, you go up here to title, hit title, new title, default still, title, card, we'll call it woman, number 1. She's the first woman. Oh, this is okay. Hit OK. This pops up. So what we want to do is go to this type tool, take the type tool, drag. We'll want to do it, and we'll call her Becky. Becky Red Sky. I don't think that's her real name, but we'll just use that for an example. Bring it down here, highlight it, and you could always look at other texts around. If you want to play around with that, then you could go in here, and it's more advanced if you want to, you know, change the color of the text and vice versa. So what we'll do is, you know, so there's Becky Red Sky. So I'm going to use impact just because it's bold. Boom. Place it in the lower thirds. So it's gray. You can't really see the text. So let's change the color of that. Highlight it. Go to here. It says color gray. Let's make it like reddish black. Hit OK, and boom, pops out a lot more. You can also put a shadow to make it pop even more. So now we can actually see her name kind of pop up. Looks a lot better. So we'll close this off. Then we'll go down here. This is the text tool. Take it, put it on the timeline, right beside the B-roll. So that way when we play back.
Personal power to me is being part of the community, and the best part for me is the drumming and singing.
So once you've created your entire sequence, like the one over here, what you want to do is you want to render out the video file. So like we'll go, let's zoom here, then we'll go option, kind of zoom out a bit. This is your workspace, so we're going to take this here, drag it all the way down to the end of our clip right here, and right over here. So what we want to do is, primarily, what I usually do, I always have a habit of just highlighting all my clips. Then we'll go up to sequence, then we'll go render effects in work area. As you can see, it's now rendering all 1,390 frames, and the time would take 1 minute, so just bear with me. Put on a time lapse or something in the post. And as soon as it's done rendering, it'll automatically play back right from the start of the timeline, which I think is really cool. So if you go away and you don't want to sit here for the whole entire time, especially if you're rendering a lot larger projects, you definitely don't want to be sitting here the whole time while that happens. But that option will allow you to hear it. So you'll know that it's all rendered when everything here is in green. So this all this stuff right in here, in between these 2 points, is now all rendered and good to export. So what we're going to do for export, we want to put our videos on Dropbox or YouTube. We'll go here, File, go down, Export, Export Media. Click on that. So we want to look at the settings here. So what we're looking for high quality formats to upload to YouTube. You know, YouTube likes QuickTimes. It doesn't like this. We're not shooting digital video. Well, we kind of are. So what we'll do anyway is we'll go HD 720, 24 frames, H.264. H.264 is one of the most native quality formats that YouTube really likes. So we'll click on that. Then we'll go to here, the output name, personal power. You can put it to the desktop, but for our sake of just understanding where everything is, we'll go back into our folder and we'll go to Editing Tutorial 101, Personal Power 101. Leave it at that. You can name it whatever you want, and we'll just save it to that folder. Now its destination is to that folder. Everything else here seems good. You don't want to mess around with none of this. You could add filters and all this stuff, but that's a little bit more advanced and we won't go into that. So all of this right here is what will be rendered and exported out. So we'll go ahead to export. There we go, 100%. So we're going to go ahead and hide Premiere Pro. And we're going to go into back to our folder, Editing Tutorial 101. And boom, right here, double click on it. Here is the video that we just created. Ins and outs, everything looks like it's there. I'm just going to go ahead and close that. So now let's go into our internet browser. Right now I'm using Chrome, so we'll go into Chrome, get off my Facebook, and then we'll go to your YouTube page. So here's mine. As you can see, this Indigenous Youth Wellness video contest is on the screen. So what we want to do in order to upload that video, once you're logged into your YouTube account, go to upload. Brings you here. So what you want to do, you have your privacy options, either public, unlisted, or private. For this sake, we'll just keep it public. I know we'll keep it unlisted just because when it's unlisted, only people with your link could actually see that specific video that you're uploading. So we'll select files, but if you want everybody to see it public, if you only want clients or people, personnel, specific people unlisted, and send them the link. But yeah, we'll just keep them listed for right now. So we'll go to here, select files to upload, hit this button, and here we are. So we'll go to our 2 terabyte, and we'll look for the Editing Tutorial 101, which is right here. And boom, right here is this Personal Power 101 move. Go down, hit open. And yeah, and then we wait. It says about 2 minutes remaining to upload video. And here at this point you could change it. You know, you could rename it. You can add a description. You know, the women of the health center wanted to do a video to empower each other. And you can write whatever on. I'm just blabbling on here. So about 2 more minutes, 35%, and the video will be live at this link. And then so now you're uploading and play the waiting game once again. 98, 99, 100. Oh, of course, now it's processing. Uploading and processing. So let's just go ahead and see if that link's available. Try back in 30 seconds. Okay. There you go. Upload complete. The video will be live at the link. Go to the link. There you have it.
personal power to me is being part of the community, and the best part for me is the drumming and singing, and teaching, and being part of the drumming and singing, knowing to sing our songs.
So there you have it. We went from just the basics of, bringing in the folders, the clips, making a sequence, adding some text, adding some B-roll, and showing you the ins and outs of how to isolate clips and render and export for YouTube and having the ability to share your videos. So yeah, just a basic 101 tutorial of like how to edit with Premiere Pro, and we hope that helps you out. So, chiniglitch.